Turn me up in the headphones. Yeah. Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and by my nose. Anything is possible. Yeah.
What is going on out there, YouTube and podcasts? If you're on Apple or Google, welcome to the first episode of a new podcast here with my brothers here called Bro, Can I Help You? Today, we're just getting into our first episode and talking more about who we are and why we're here. But we do want to like breach the topic of are you healthy and are you moving forward in a healthy way? So you definitely want to stay tuned to the end so you can get all this great content. But moving right into the podcast today, we could start with, I don't know if anybody just wants to go first, but if not, I can just pick somebody when we pick somebody just to kind of, say, this is me, this is who I am, this is where I'm at, and this is kind of what I do. I'm going to nominate Oren Adams.
Okay, Oren, there you go.
Y'all going to nominate me, man. It's all good. Well, y'all know, like Terrell just said, I'm Oren Adams here locally in Mansfield, Texas. I'm in the financial industry working with family wealth builders. What we do is we teach families how to create generational wealth and pass it on. So that's what I'm doing right now in the industry. So.
Okay, I'll go. I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm sorry. I got a barking dog in the back. I apologize. Well, I hope you can edit that out. But I'm Clyde Jacobs. I'm a realtor with Compass Realty, and I'm out of basically Spring, Texas, but I also work out of the office in the Woodlands.
Gotcha.
Primarily been in sales for 20 plus years, but that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, and my name is Andre Lewis. From Dallas, Texas, currently living in Mansfield, Texas. I work for a major bank as a fraud investigator. However, I also have a clothing line by the name of Peridot Rabbit. And the tagline is simply, be led by your heart, not your mind.
So, and I'm last. I'm Jarrell White. I live also in Texas. Texas podcast, Texas strong. But I live in Texas. I'm not from Texas, so I ain't gonna report that much. But on top of that, I'm an educator. I'm an assistant principal, but then I do a couple things. I'm a content creator, filmmaker. I have some retail e-commerce outlets, and I also do some business and some retail stuff on Amazon. So a couple different things, and that's me. So so those tuning in, you got kind of a preview of who is here on the podcast and a little bit about where we at now. And over time, you'll learn more about where we came from and how we got there. So with that, we talked about this together, and you all can chime in whenever, like just about doing the podcast and doing something like this for a couple of different reasons. And like with the title, like saying like, hey, bro, can I help you with some things? And it just started like with us sort of want to help each other be accountable. But as we started to talk more, just with each other as friends, outside of that accountability, like just to say like, hey, man, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I'm feeling. And it was almost therapeutic at times to say that we got to talk to each other, or just be heard. Not even that. I even gave you something different than say your wife would have gave you, or a therapist would have gave you, or a pastor would have gave you, whatever. But it was good to just, be around brothers and say what's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that you spot on with that one. I thought that the conversations, I was actually having a conversation with my wife a little while ago, and we were in the kitchen talking about these calls from a while ago, how some of the people that was originally on the original calls were really impacted, and how the calls really make a difference, whether you said like it's therapeutic or whether it's just getting some insight. I think it's always more important to share, and when people share information, I think that helps. But I think as well, when you see other people in the same situation you're in, just trying to figure it out, I think to give you a little bit more encouragement to kind of just stick with it, and keep going. Or someone may be doing a little bit better than you, right? So to see them pushing and coming from the same general areas, backgrounds, doing some of the same things, they're real people just like you, I think it can be pretty inspiring for people to keep pushing, you know, to have that hope.
Definitely. And even to that point, like, you know, as we talked about that help in that regard, that I don't know, I'm gonna toss this out there like as a discussion point, like that as brothers, especially as Black men, that I feel like even at times there's a need that we have to move forward, you know what I'm saying? To progress or to develop or grow. Or even at times I feel that way, or in people that I kind of associate with feel that way, but I don't know if everybody's there. Do you all think, or would you agree, disagree? Maybe have a different gray area of about, or different measures about that statement of the need to grow?
I think it's a need to grow. I'll chime in real quick. I think it's a need to grow, and I honestly believe every person want to grow. I think they have the desire to want to be better and do better, but I also think that desire only goes to the extent that they're willing to push the boundaries to get better. You know, for me, I want to grow. I want to be around people that's excelling, that's doing great things, because one, it shows you firsthand of that things are possible. You know, that person is going to do something that maybe you don't believe that you can do, but when you get around that circle of people that's moving and they're doing great things, then it automatically puts you into that zone. It's kind of like what they say, brothers, that, you know, if you hang around 5 millionaires, you're deemed to be number 6, you know, but if you hang around 5 people that's doing nothing, you know, 5 drug addicts, guess what? Probably gonna be the 6th one. So I think most people do want to grow. They have a need to grow. I just think that based off their influence or their circle is how much of that need is really impacted or affected by them, that they really want to move forward.
And even just to piggyback on what Oren just said, so it made me think of an analogy with a flower, right? So similar to a flower with good soil around it, right? Versus the flower with concrete surrounded by it. So it's just about having these conversations like this and being around like-minded people, you know, allows for, you know, that room and that mindset to grow and, you know, grow further. Because just like Oren also said, just how simply, you know, being either the next millionaire or the next crackhead, excuse the term, but for lack of words, exactly. Right. So I totally agree with that.
So then even on that note, like, and we can discuss like the distinction of growing versus getting money. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that the same thing in your mind?
No, I think it's two different things. You know, I think getting money is like a result, right? Like, you know, it's a result of actually probably growing, right? In some capacity, in some field. So getting money is just the result of doing a bunch of little actions, I think, right? Mm-hmm. But I do think that growing, to answer the first question, not to go back too far, but I think we all generally are innately born with, you know, that urge to want to grow. I mean, what's the purpose of us being here, right? If we just come here just to exist? No, I think we came here with the urge to want to always do better. I mean, we've all had that, man, I wish I can. Every time you get to a certain level, you always feel like, man, what's next? Or what's next, right? So I think we're innately always wanting to grow. We're always going to have that urge, and that urge will only cease the moment you stop breathing. I mean, until then, I mean, you're going to always look for something. Even if you're 80, there's people like 80, 90 years old talking about they're still learning every single day, right? So that's different than actually getting money, right? I mean, you do a job, you perform a task, you grow a business, you build people, you manage that business, and the net result is you net money as a result. So I think they're different, in my opinion.
And I like that thinking on that, and just that, not just that it's a way of thinking, it is, but, you know, it's almost a truth that, you know, if I'm doing the right things, then they should produce a certain thing. Like if I'm growing, if I'm working on this thing and I'm doing it right, it bears a certain fruit, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if I'm not going to be able to take fruit from something that I haven't put something into, right? And the things that I would, I mean, technically, you know, in today's time, people are doing that. We're getting fruit that people grew in the lab, and they didn't go from the ground and take the time and the care that was. Where you look at people grow a chicken in a week, you know what I'm saying? From egg to full chicken at Tyson on the way to Walmart in a week, you know what I'm saying? And but even the impacts of that it has on things like that thing is not real. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, you might have that money, but how long are you going to have that money? How long is this really going to be what you think it is before it kind of implodes on itself? And you wanting money, because I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting money. I think we all need money. And it's something to say about a lifestyle to live. But at the same time, yeah, is it healthy to just think I just need the money and to just get money? Is that a healthy lifestyle or is it even healthy to continually pursue? Because some schools of thought, people feel like at some point you need to like just chill out, you know what I'm saying? And which I agree. I think chill out, but what does chill out look like? You know what I'm saying? For us or for most of us historically, a Black man who aren't at the top of this money game, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me though, and this is something I really have to really understand, I try to practice even to this day, which is extremely difficult, is I have a tendency to be a little impatient, right? Mm-hmm. And through my impatience, I don't allow things to come to me, right? Mm-hmm. I may get too impatient, too eager. And when you start reaching for things, I think that's when you find yourself in these bad situations, right? So I think, you know, if you said it earlier, if you do the right things, if you do a certain thing a certain way, then the net result is the money will come to you. Like, I know we say go get money. I think we need to reverse that. The money needs to come get you. Well, how does it come get you? Through the course and through the way you conduct and carry yourself and how you actually like live your life in a purposeful way, right? And I think the flow of money will come, but we're so eager to run and go get it. And I've been guilty of this before. I end up in jobs that I don't like. I end up in places that I don't like, right? Or you even, in some situations, compromise your integrity by doing things for money that you would normally never do. And then you end up sitting somewhere serving life sentences or finding yourself in very bad positions because we were reaching. We were out of our lane when we should just stay in our lane. And like you say, just chill out. And then do the simple things and allow things to come to you naturally. And then before you know it, you'll grow it. But we're so quick that we want it right now. I've always wanted it so soon when I was younger. I want it now. I want the money now. I want the job now. And I think that can be a reckless type mentality if it's not controlled or you don't get it under control quickly, you know? Yeah. Or it can send you to a depressional state because you never have it because you're always chasing. It's like a vapor. You can never put your hands on it because you want it so bad and it doesn't want you back. Just because you out of pocket and out of lane, just doing all kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And you never find fulfillment in that. Right. You chase money for so long, and then what happens is you get to a point where you say, well, is it worth it? You know, because you're not healthy or your mindset's not right, or whatever it may be. So I think, having money, yes, you gotta have that to move forward and survive. But like Clive was saying, like you were saying, Jarrell, is, if you do what you're supposed to do and you're running the play the right way, then the money should be chasing you, right? If you're doing everything exactly, you're evolving every day. Because if you don't, you can get the money and you could be like Blockbuster, right? They had the money, but they didn't what? They didn't evolve. They didn't grow. They didn't see the next step. And guess what happened? they're no longer here. So, you can go get the money and then never evolve or never grow. And eventually that money kind of falls by the wayside. And I think that's even a worse situation to be in than to have the money, is to reach a pinnacle of success and get money and then have to go back to where you were at, go back to life with no money. I think that's worse than, slow taking your time to get, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what are some people going to say though? Give me some things that I can do to kind of allow it to come to me. Like what would you say to somebody that could, young adult or, even an adult struggling in life? What would y'all say to say, okay, step one, step two, because everyone wants to know how. Everybody get it. We talking about, hey, just be relaxed and let it come to you. But, when your stomach is growling and them bills are due, that type of thought process sometimes doesn't work. So what would you guys suggest? What tips do we have for people in order to kind of like get in that space?
Right. And I think that's a real question though, because I think in life, most people are taught to reach. We talk about maybe you overreaching, but that's how we made it. Like that's how we get this, because we had to fight for this. We had to bleed for something we didn't have. We had to shoot for the stars, that kind of thing, which is all that's sort of like, hey, go after it, be hungry, go get it, got to grind. And which I think is real, and you need to, which is another question itself, is when then do you reach, or what does appropriate reach look like? But at the same time, like this urgency that we have a lot of times is around, we come from a place of not having already. So we out here trying to get it, like, and since you didn't have already, that's all is to try to go after it and go get it because you're hungry now. You want something now. And almost like that, there is a way, but then, this way might get me the money right now and I can get out here and do what I want to do. Which I don't even know if that's a healthy line of thinking, because the reality of it is if you really believe it and you really gonna work for it, you're gonna get it. But once you get it, then what? You know what I'm saying? And that's something that rocked me in my thinking and in my life as I got older, to think like, man, I'm out here, I'm gonna make $1 million. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I had a mentor that he said, you know what? He said, you're doing too much. And he said, you're doing this, that, and this and that and whatever. But the reality of it is that you're gonna get the money. But then once you get it, then what you gonna do? Because it don't seem like you like any of the stuff that you're doing. And then you're in this position where I might get the money, I might not, but I'm always moving. I'm always this, I'm always that, I'm always impatient. So even if it would pay off, maybe I didn't wait long enough, and I'm reaching for something else. So I do think that you need to be able to reach and want for some things, but at the same time, I think another message for most people is, most of the people that we look at right now that are uber successful in life, that have what they have, that are changing the world, the Elon Musk, the Bezos, Amazon, the Googles, the Steve Jobs, majority of them did not start making money until they're about in their 40s. But most of us are out here trying to get it and grind and get money starting at about 15. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not ready for it, bro. Like if you were to get it, it's gonna destroy you, dude. Like in your mind, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think, for me personally, I would say, because I know myself, I've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to trying to figure out, all this thing about life, because I didn't really have no example. No one showed me about credit. No one showed me how to balance a checkbook. No one showed me how to open an account, right? No one took me to go get my first car. So all these decisions and things that was made, on me just out here learning, right? So what I would suggest that someone do is you got to educate yourself. I mean, the reason why you don't kill yourself if you get the money is because you just don't understand how money works.
Bingo.
Number one, right? So in order to get a better understanding, instead of talking to Uncle Joe Willie about how to manage money, and when he out here he can barely, make it from point A to point B. You might need to pick up a book and really like follow somebody and read and understand, what some successful people have done. You may not be able to emulate it 100%, but there's some key principles I think that every successful person has basically left behind it you can pick up. And I think starting with number one is actually reading and trying to educate yourself, right? And then two, once you read, can you comprehend what it is you're reading? And if you don't, then reach out to someone who may have a better understanding. But we're so inclined to stick to our own little circle or pack of people to try to help us elevate, and they can only take us as far as what they know. But we don't like expand beyond our own little comfort zone, right? And the more we expose ourselves to different places and go different, events and meet new people, I think we get exposed to different information that may allow us to open our minds up to something other than what we've been taught for the last 20-something odd years,
Right. And I'm a shameful plug here. You can also get you some good information from the Bro Can I Help You podcast.
Yeah, fact.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I think that's good. In a sense, like, we all playing the game that we got out here. Think you got the apple by the bull, and you chasing the stars, like, and you don't even understand how the game works, bro. And
yeah.
And people don't let you do it. And sometimes even if they try to stop you, you wouldn't listen anyway. But that's my hope for anybody that may stumble across this, that you do listen to what we're saying, especially if you're at a point where you feel like you're not moving forward and you're not healthy, that it's healthy to stop and chill for a minute and just to kind of see where you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And before you move, like, let's make sure that you're moving towards something that is a good move for you. And then just know that things take time. Like people on TV and you see the music videos or whatever. Yeah, I mean, fast money come fast and leave fast. So that's not what you're after. You need something a little different.
And I would agree with what you said, Real, about the reach part. I do think you need to reach. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is, when you reach levels outside of your lane, then that's when you get smacked, right? So, if you want to reach as high as you can reach, but reach to the highest levels of your capabilities. So just because I see Guy B getting it, and getting it on a different level, that we don't know what that person did to get to that level. We don't think, we just can't look and just go say, okay, I'm going to do that too. No, that person has probably put in a lot of work and a lot of sweat equity to get to that level. And if we step outside that lane thinking we can just do and emulate just easily, no, it just doesn't work that way, right? So you gotta know yourself. But that goes back to that thing about being impatient, where we're just so impatient because Susie got a new car, so I got to get me a new car too, Dre showed up with the new kicks and a new fit. I got to keep up with him. So, we started once again, reaching outside of those lanes,
Because I'm gonna tell you, Dre showed up. We went to eat on, was it Saturday? Dre showed up with this blazer, boy. I said, man, look at that blazer, fire.
That boy's clean. I saw the picture. I mean, he better be clean being a fashion designer. I know Dre was gonna bring it.
Hey, so the whole thing about, the way that I operate, man, is buying quality stuff and just taking care of it. So I've had that blazer for, let's say, maybe 6 years, right? Well, maybe 4. But yeah, guys, stop.
But even to that note, like we talk about, I mean, you couldn't told me that wasn't a new blazer, and I could be out here right now at Macy's trying to find it. Man, Dre had this blazer, and I'm reaching, trying to be you instead of just being me, and you done had this for years, bro. Like, I mean, and you put time and investment into this property and this asset that you got, and the blazer. So. Yeah. We've all, and I'm saying we all, I'm just generalizing, but I mean, hell, we've all done some things, spent money that we wasn't supposed to spend to try to keep up. And I just think that is even more prevalent today, especially with social media. And when you see everybody on social media and TV, I just got on social media about 6 months ago, and everybody does well on social media. Like, man, there's so many celebrities and people everybody's a celebrity on social media. Everybody's doing good. Everybody, all I see is all the
all the highlights and the trips. I'm like, man, it can almost make you feel like, man, everybody out here is just making moves.
Right.
But I think it's like you said, some of that is just a straight facade to a certain extent.
Right.
And somebody impressionable could see that and think that, okay, I'm getting behind, I need to catch up, you know. And that's what I mean by getting out of your lane, by doing stuff because you think you see somebody else has it or someone's doing it, when in all actuality it's not really real, you know, at all. Because the real successful people, you never really see them. The rich folks, you really don't know they're rich. You have no clue. Right. You know, because they don't even carry themselves that way. They don't even flaunt their wealth in that manner. That's just not what they do. They move in silence. Period. You know,
about building some stocks and stuff. But I think that's just the world we live in, man. That's just as a society, man. We want the now. We want to live like the entertainers, the musicians, the celebrities, right? You want to look on social media and you see your friend, you know, took a trip to, you know, somewhere and it looks like they live in life, you know. They got the drinks, they got the fun, they own the jet skis, they own the boats, and you say, man, they're doing better than me. I need to figure it out. The problem is you go into a financial hole trying to get in that position. You know, one thing I learned, I remember when I was at Acura, changed my life. I talked to a family, and the guy said they take 2 trips a year, and he said that they take 1 trip with him and his wife and 1 trip with the family, but they pay on it throughout the year. And I was like, oh. And the guy was in there trying to buy a $60,000 car, put it on his credit card so he can get the flyer miles, you know? And I'm sitting there thinking, so I asked him, it was a website they used that you can book your trip and pay on it as you go. And by the time 2 months is before you leave, you pay off the rest. And I said, that's how they do it. You know, instead of dropping all the money up front, no, they pay a little here and there, and then they go on these trips that wasn't a spare of the moment trip, wasn't a last minute savings. No, they prepared themselves, they set money aside, and they went on this trip and they enjoyed it. I mean, I think you told me, Clyde, you don't like to travel to the same place twice. You know, it's all about new experiences. Well, you know, someone that hears that for the first time thinks, man, I gotta live like that. I gotta go do this. No, you don't understand that. Well, you didn't drop all that money at one time. You probably planned that trip 8 months ago and you saved up and you set money aside. So I think it's just social media is a big facade right now. And you are as well as you post, right? Your life is as great as you post. And everyone wants to keep up with the Joneses, but be dead broke on the outside. And that's the sad thing that we see. And you can tell where the wealth and stuff is. I mean, look at when people pass away. Look how many GoFundMes are out there. Right? Look how much help people are needing when you're thinking, well, where's the wealth development? Where's the savings? Where is, you know, I want to be, what's the Facebook's name? Mark Zuckerberg?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
I think I saw a post that said he wore the same gray shirt that he got from Walmart every day in the same type of jeans, like different ones, but that's his style. You know, you look at Jerry Jones, he owned the Cowboys here in Dallas. You don't see Jerry Jones in $1 million, all this and that. No, Jerry Jones is a simple guy, right? And that's where you want to be. You want to be the simple person, and you got money. You don't need to flaunt it when you know you got wealth or you got riches. But the fact of it is we want to look like the money. We want to look successful. We want to spend $800 on shoes and jewelry because that's what we see everyone else is doing. Right.
That's what validates us too, though, Oren. That's what That's what gives a lot of people validation.
Yes, you know, they do. You know what I'm saying?
So they want you to say, "Hey, man, you looking clean today." That's my validation. Mm-hmm. Oren's like, "Man, that's a nice car." That's my validation that I made it. You know, because like Real said, we never ever had anything. So what you're saying makes perfect sense. You know.
Yeah.
But at what point did anybody ever intend to or establish that you were responsible for the thoughts and ideas of 40 different people you're going to interact with today?
Well, you're not, but I think it's your upbringing and where you come from.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You come from not much, and when you come from a place where you see you see how everybody get praise to when people have things. Well, guess what? You automatically are going to want that same praise, right? I'm going to go do those things so someone can notice me. I want to be noticed, right? I want people to see me and make me feel good. So you saying, man, if I was Dre, you saying, man, that you look sharp. That may make me feel good. So guess what I do? I go out and I buy those things again to get that. And when the praises stop, I got to find the next thing to get me the praises. So I think a lot of people are chasing, like what you said, Clyde, people are chasing the acknowledgement. I want to feel special. I want someone to notice. So whatever it takes me to do, I'm going to go do it. Even if I don't have the means financially, I'm going to spend whatever little I got on those things. So when I go out, I can find the identity and I can feel like I'm somebody while I'm doing it. And ultimately it hurts the culture, right? It hurts us as men, it hurts our families. But we don't, when you're in that lifestyle, in that situation, you don't see it as that. You just see it as, and I'm living, I'm balling, I'm out here getting it. When I step out, I'm the highlight of the event. I'm shined up.
Yeah. And that's it. And I think that links back to kind of what we were talking about earlier, like, of just chill out a little bit and do what's best for you. You can't be out here chasing what everybody else is doing. Or at the same time, you can't worry about everybody else's opinion about where you are and where you're going. Because that's the truth right there, that everybody ain't going where you're going.
So how do you tell somebody that's, 17, 18, 20, 25, we sound like, them old heads that told us, man, chill out, man, sit down somewhere, young fella. Nobody wants to chill out. These cats want, like, so how do you connect with somebody that ain't trying to hear that message? That really
it's
ultimately, that message is different, right? Because, I got kids, a 27, 26, and a 24, and I got a 14-year-old and a 17. They're not trying to hear that. Mm-hmm. They ain't trying to chill out. So what do we tell the youth, or what do we tell, even some adults in their 30s or even in their 40s? Like, hey, bro, how do you get that message across to where it's received, Because obviously it's not a healthy situation based off what Rail said. Or is this healthy? Absolutely. This mentality is not healthy. Right. And we've been knowing it for God knows how long. So how to actually make a difference?
I think this is a good one for Dre, because he was doing some mentorship for a while with some young folks. Dre, what you got on that, man? Because I think you've done some mentorship with some young men. That's probably within that mindset and that age group.
Right. So just one thing that I can say about that is just simply, it's okay to, want to have nice things and I guess turn up or whatever you might call it. However, I also feel, and what I told them, is that it's a time and place for everything, and it's all about planning, right? And even when you work hard for something, it's okay to have something nice, right? But in addition to that, you don't have to flaunt it, right? Because that way you're attracting the wrong people, the wrong things, the wrong energy. So at the end of the day, it's okay to, want what you want. But as long as it's, thought out, planned, and you ain't going broke over it, and you treat it right, it'll come right back to you. So in a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah. And I think, a good message with that is, like, even like we said, you need to just chill out. Like, but I think at the same time, a young person don't hear chill out while you're looking and learning to go to the right thing, or that they hear that you want me to learn, but they don't think learning gonna make money. But that when we're saying chill out, we're saying, do you, but do the work, but let's be quiet a little bit, You're doing too much. Let's stop moving around. Be a little still a little bit, and let's make smart moves. Let's not just move for the sake of moving, forward for the sake of forward, but let's make some smart moves. Let's make some calculated decisions and have some strategy. And
in
even
addition
in that,
to that,
right. So
I apologize.
Oh, go ahead. And like what you're doing, like if you're doing this to post it to something, you're wrong right now. Do you either way, because you're doing that. Like if this is for you to post or somebody else to see, rethink it. Like let's just back up, reach, move forward, but make some smart decisions. And just like I told somebody the other day, like, you know what, right now you in everything, and you making an app, you starting a line, you motivational speaking, you investor, you a home inspector, you doing all this, but what you need to do is wait until you find the thing you really going to get into and want to do. And it's fine to have a little side hustle to make some money. Yeah, go ahead, make some money and do your thing. But yeah, you can't take over the world today in 15 different categories, bro. Like,
but real, would you rather have that guy, or would you rather have the other guy that's sitting in front of the TV for 12 hours a day, that won't have no motivation to do nothing? But I got this other young guy out here, this young woman out here getting it out the mud, trying 5 different things. So in my opinion, me personally, I'll take the guy who's going to try 5 different things and try to get it done versus, little man over here that's sitting around talking about, I want to play PlayStation for 30 hours. That guy is like, come on, man, that's where the disconnect is.
And this is my thing. I think they're the same person, honestly. It's just that one is I think they're the same person. It's just that one is further along in the process than the other. At times in my life, I could open my mouth and say I wanted this, but would play Xbox for 2 hours and ain't did no work. You see what I'm saying? But I wanted it. But there's a time where I didn't even know I wanted it. I wanted something, but then I didn't do nothing. But then that something caused me to move forward to this, to the next step and the next stage. And the next stage, because even to me, to hear you doing all those things means you haven't learned a lesson that, yeah, you're doing too much, you can chill out and still accomplish more in a shorter period of time, doing the thing that you should be doing, making smart decisions versus the thing that you're just doing to be doing, moving forward. But this guy
I think they're 2 totally different people, though, really.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I mean, unless somebody else sees something different, or you think they're the same guy, or what do you think?
Well, I think not that they're 2 different people, probably at 2 different points in their life, but I think it comes down to whoever's talking to that person and credibility, right?
Who gonna be in your space? Who gonna get Owen Adams 20 minutes of Owen Adams time? The guy that's playing PlayStation for 30 hours, or the guy out here with 5 businesses that's failing a little bit at each one, but at least he's trying?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you take the 5 businesses, but I'm gonna still talk to the guy on the video games, because maybe my credibility could get him to understand that if you're gonna play PlayStation for 5 hours, let's monetize it. I mean, these kids these days making millions of dollars on video games. Like, people play Madden tournaments, and so if we're gonna do the PlayStation thing, let's find a way to make it a career and monetize it instead of just doing it out of leisure. That's the same people on social media for 5-6 hours. They're the same person as the dude playing the game. Unless you're going to monetize that social media, because I think you can make money in a lot of things. Maybe the person don't know that, man, I'm really good at Fortnite. Well, great. It's a kid. I think that kid made like 1.something million off of winning a Fortnite tournament. Well, why don't you join that tournament if you play this game all day? You know what I mean? But I'm going to take the person that's moving, that's rocking. But I also think that it's going to take somebody with credibility, because I can go in that room and tell the dude on the PlayStation, do this, do this, do this, do that. But in that person's eyes, if I'm not a credible person, or they haven't saw me create or produce some things, it might go in one area after the other one, versus, Jarrell or you, Clyde or Dre go in there and talk to him, and then they like, oh, okay, let me try this. Yeah. So I think it's kind of also the influence. You know what I mean? But I'll take either one and make them a producer, though.
And I can say this real quick. So just also kind of piggyback off of Warren, but also in regards to the statement I made about the mentees that I had, right? Mm-hmm. So it was one time where they wanted to buy a pair of Jordans, right? And I was like, all right, well, you got a, summertime job, mowing lawns. So you can choose to go ahead and get those Jordans, right? Or you could choose to invest in Nike. Take that same $200 and let's say invest in Nike. So it's also about having options and those options being presented. And I just feel like one thing about us and our culture, but to be honest, I can only speak for myself, is that when I was coming up, I wasn't presented a lot of different options versus, going to school, finding a job, paying bills.
Right.
That's it.
Go
right.
get a job. Right.
Versus me learning about financial literacy and credit back when I was a teenager, if not younger, and just having options and just different things like that. Right. Mm-hmm. So also kind of just to say what you guys were saying, it's about having those influences, aka once again, options and things, presented to you.
So this goes back to what Owen said earlier about the social media thing and how, people on there posting, trips and stuff. And I think that's amazing because to a certain extent, right? Because what happens is in order to connect with anybody, let's just call it, the younger generation, or even some older generation people. When I say older, I'm talking like the 30s or 35-year-olds, right? To connect with them, they're going to need some kind of social proof. I think there's something I learned that on Facebook, on social media. There's some social proof. They got to see social proof to believe that you really are what you say you are. They need social proof, right? And the only way you can do that is you have to sometimes put yourself out there. Like, hey, listen, man, I'm not doing it for likes and clicks. I'm just doing it to inspire someone to know what's possible.
And right? I like what you say about that. Like you said, which guy would I talk to? Honestly, it's a good chance I may not talk to either one of them. And it's not that I don't want to, but in my time and what the time is worth, if you putting yourself out there to come to me and say, hey, what's going on? I'll talk to you. Video game or not.
I'm taking the guy with 5 jobs, real.
All day long.
I'm not. Hey, I'm taking good. I was that guy because I think, for instance, you guys are all probably managers, principals, and high level management before. And when you get people come into your business, it's, we always say we need to have culture. We need to motivate. Like, no, it's easier. I look great as a leader when I got someone who comes in with the actual mold. They're energized, they're ready to get it, and all they need is that energy directed. The guy on the PlayStation, to me, this is my person, and I'm not knocking PlayStation and all this other stuff. I get all that. But to me, I need to have somebody with a little bit of a motor. Yeah, you got to come to the table with something. And the person could come to the table with some type of motor. I can just direct them in the right place and focus that energy to really maximize what their attention is. Bring that focus into clarity. Like what you said, Real, they all over the place. Well, all you gotta do is focus that. It's easier to get that guy or that girl to the next level than it is maybe to get the other person. And I'm not saying the person on PlayStation is unmotivated. I'm not saying all that. All I'm saying is there's moderation. You just can't be in your mama's bedroom all day playing PlayStation.
But this is what I'm saying in that point is that, like, either one of them, I want to talk to one who wants to hear from me. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you came to me, then I'm going to tell you something. Like, if you on PlayStation, my feedback to you is going to be a lot shorter than the guy working 5 things. Like, bro, turn the PlayStation off. Like, cut off the Fortnite and let's do some work. But the guy that's doing this, okay, this is what you need to do. Let's move to that. Let's find this out. Let's kind of make some smart decisions. But in both of those cases, the guy at the PlayStation or even the guy that's doing the things may not be coachable. And if you ain't gonna listen to me, then I ain't got time for you either way. And if you didn't want to come find me, then I ain't got time for you either way. Because the best time to learn from anybody is when they're in the middle of what they're doing. Like when you out here working it. Like if I go to the Elon Musk, Elon, what do I need to do? Well, Elon's done building businesses. Like he at the top. Like he's not in that process right now. So I do think people are in different parts of their life in the process, but the process starts with you knowing that you need something that you don't got, and I may have it. And if you want it, I could tell you some stuff, but then that comes back to you. Are you gonna do it? So then that means, are we gonna continue to talk? If I see that I'm wasting my time telling you to do things you're not doing, I don't care if you're working 15 things and mediocre at them. I'm not talking to you no more.
Right. So what is some of the solutions? Like again, because once again, we say, yo, bro, how can I help you? Right. So what are some solutions, and what can we do to seem like to get to a healthier place? Because it sounds like we got some an unhealthy society to a certain extent. It's not
Right.
totally unhealthy, but there's some unhealthy stuff there. But what can we do? What is the solution? What are the steps? Everybody wants the steps. Everybody wants the secret sauce. So what is those secret sauce to help someone get out of the first gear into the second gear,
Right,
and
let's do
maybe
that.
kind of get on the road? Like, give me some solutions.
And do it in a
One
healthy
thing-
way.
And in a healthy,
Right.
in a healthy way, right?
So one thing that I can say about that is write things down. You know, like there's power in the pen, you know, and it can also be known as goal planning, right? But writing things down. And I feel like that's a good starting point. And that's in regards to anything that anybody would like to do. So yeah, just simply write it down and start from there, and then almost work backwards, right? So, and when I say work backwards, so let me back up a little bit. So one thing about my wife, you know, is we've had a conversation before, and she told me that whenever she wants to accomplish something, that she starts at the end goal. It's like she starts with, you know, already being there, and then work backwards, right? And I sat down and thought about it. I was like, that's real. So in addition to that, just simply making a plan, right? Whatever it is.
That's fact.
I see that.
We did that in the car business.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to that point though, all she basically is doing in her own world is seeing the thing before it was even created, right? You know what I'm saying? She
Exactly.
see it already, right? So I think that's a perfect step. You gotta see it. If you can't, there's a saying that someone said, and I want to give them credit for it. They said, you know, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So that goes to what you just said, Dre. She sees it in her mind, and she goes to that place. And if you go there and you make it real in your mind, someone also said that everything in life was created twice. First in your imagination, and then you got to do the work to bring it to the surface, right? So, you know, it first starts with seeing it and then writing it down, like you just said. So I think that's a powerful point.
And I like both of those. And I would say, like, you got to make a decision, man. You got to make a decision that you're going to do it. Like, from the guy on the PlayStation to the guy, and a couple different things. I'm deciding to move in this direction, so let's move. And then once you start moving, we're still moving in this direction. So even now, you saw this and it looks shiny and they get money, you can't keep veering off course of what you're doing to do these other things. You got to see some things through to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's an end point, or there's a point where you, or a season, I'll say, where you don't have to do it the same way, but and you can put your hand on something else. But there's a time for that, like, and it's not all the time. But even to piggyback on what Dre was saying, that writing it down, people used to tell me that, and I used to be like, man, write nothing. What is writing it down gonna do? It ain't gonna change nothing, man. But I think one big thing about writing it down, though, on top of like working backwards and all that, and just having that proof to say this is what happened, this is what I did. But that reflection is key, man. How do you know what you did? You got to sit up and remember. A lot of times you don't remember that. Like, but if you got data now. Like, I did this, I got this result. So now it's easy to go ahead and make a system out of what you're doing. Now that you got it written down and you have this evidence to say, okay, this is what happened. This is the result I got. So if I want to be here, I get here by taking this and doing the numbers now. And it's just
and not to get to no weird place, but when you write it down, I think somewhere after you write it, once you read it, you visually see it. Because I think I want to say we're mostly visual people, right? So when you see the words, it automatically makes you read it, you see it, and then you can imagine it in your head because you're reading it. As you read a story, right? You read a book, and I can see the characters, and then when you see the movie, you're kind of disappointed because you saw it different in your head, right? It's the same when you write it down on paper. You're writing it down simply A, to get it out of your head, and then B, to visually see it, to make it cemented in your own imagination. Because without that being real in your own mind, you'll never hold it in your hand, right? You can never see the end. What is the end? You don't know because you never really wrote it down, right? And I think our thoughts move so fast in our head that until you write it down, it forces you to slow down and really kind of like think through your thoughts. Because as you write, as you think, right? You start to think and then you write it, and then it starts to kind of like let the creative juices flow. You know what I'm saying? But when you just keep it all in your head, I think your mind can definitely play tricks on you,
Right.
and cause you to be delusional about some things, and then you think you're in the wrong lane, and then that's when you get smacked again, right?
And
Also, when you do write it down with conviction, as if it's already happened. You know, and this one situation happened to me years ago, back when I was in high school, right? Like I was a senior, and I used to dance a little bit. So on one of my friends' yearbooks, I just simply said, "Hey bro, much love, catch me on BET." Not knowing how it was going to happen, not knowing when it was going to happen. But when I wrote it down, I actually felt it, and I knew that it was going to take place, right? So fast forward 4 years later, I was on BET, and it took for him to remind me, like, bro, do you remember when you wrote that in my yearbook? And I was like, I do. And ever since that point, I've been a believer, right? I was like, dude, like, this is crazy.
That's good.
Actually, it's wondrous.
See, and that's a big point. I think another thing you got to do outside of what y'all just said is you got to get around those people. You got to create that environment and that culture of people around you, because as all of us know on this call, you can say, I'm going to go do something, right? I'm focused and I'm going to go create this. But there also are going to be days where nothing's happening and you get put into this depression or this downfall, and your mindset is kind of like, man, maybe I can't do this, or maybe I can't. And that's why having that environment of people around you to help you keep pushing through those things. I think that's one of the key things is no one makes it to success by themselves. No one. You can't point me one successful person in this world that can tell you I got there by myself. Because if they do tell you, it's a lie, right? Whether it was a spouse or a close friend or brother or a group of people, you always have some type of mentorship or people to pull you up, because we all go through those days where, man, you know, I can't buy a bucket, right? You playing basketball and you shooting bricks all day long, wide open. No one's holding you. You out there like Ben Simmons, you know what I'm saying? You can't hit a free throw.
So how do you know that though, Owen? Like somebody may say, okay, well, how do I know if I got the right circle? How do I know I got the right people? Like, who
right. Well, I think you know based off of how they move. Those right people are going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you need, what the truth is. You know, when you late night and you saying, bro, like, man, maybe this ain't me, or bro, things is just tough right now. Or, man, my marriage just ain't where it's at. Well, that real person is going to tell you, hey, bro, it may seem dark right now, but bro, this is you. What we need to do. How can I help you? You know, how can I boost you? You know, what to help you keep going? Or, bro, look, I was just there last week. You know that, man. We talk all the time. I talk to a few of you. I mean, I talk to all y'all about certain things, you know, and you may be up one day and I'm down, but you being up keeps me pushing, knowing that, hey, we're both trying to reach success. We may be in different fields, but we're both pushing for what? The same thing, to reach a level. But when I have someone that's pushing the same way, then when I'm down, I can use your energy to keep going. And if you're in the right environment and culture, that person is going to be on you to keep going. They're not going to let you just quit. Hey, bro, nah, this ain't me. No, bro, real talk. I mean, I go back to the example all the time. When I was leaving the car business, man, I was done, right? And guess what? 2 people told me, hey, bro, you know, it was you, Clyde, and hey, bro, work all your deals with me. Give me 100%. I am. What you say? No, you ain't. Give me 75. If you give me 100, I promise you we'll make money. And guess what I said? Okay, cool. But I believe in what you two were saying at the time. And guess what happened? That next month, I went out and make a lot of money, and the rest is history. Why? Because the people around me, the people that really cared, wouldn't let me quit. They wouldn't let me stop.
So what if somebody say, okay, I have to, my whole entire circle, my family, my friends, and everything I know is toxic. So are you telling me to go ahead and just cut everybody out?
I'm not saying cut them off, but what I'm saying is for your growth, you can't talk to them like you said earlier. I can't talk to my uncle about getting to a level that he's never got to, or he's not even striving to get to. So one thing I've learned being around a lot of successful people is, man, you know, even if my spouse wasn't on the same level as I'm on, it's not that I don't love my spouse, but I can't talk to you about these things because I can't have you being toxic to me. So I'm gonna have my boys or a mentor that's gonna help me through those times, even when I don't have the support. Because let's be honest, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, you're not getting support from your family. Typically, your mom, I mean, you might get your mom, but a lot of your family and your close friends, when you start off being an entrepreneur or you pushing your business, bro, they not really 100% on like to help push you. You get a lot of that from that inner circle. Now, I'm not saying that they're negative to you. They just not help pushing the way that you maybe need that support. They might don't take you.
And it's because they care. They care.
Like they care. We love you, baby. Put your arms around you.
They don't want to see you hurt.
They don't want to see you fail. Yeah.
Right.
So what happens? So I mean, this is a question, for everybody. Just curious to know. So when someone says, "Okay, I think I'm pretty successful. I think I'm doing all right," but where are all these millionaire mentors at? Like, where are all these people at? Because millionaires ain't walking up there talking about, "Hey, bro, I'm gonna mentor you. Come on and see me." Like, so where is the book of mentors that's listening, ready to sit down and give their time to you?
And this is the thing, I think, like, everything you're all saying was spot on. And just like Oren said, you got to watch how people move. Like, yeah, it's a bunch of people who can talk a whole bunch, talk real good, but ain't doing nothing. Like, if you ain't doing nothing, then you can't be in my circle like that. You can't be this coach and this mentor, because behavior beats words. You could say a lot, but then let's see how you behave. And even on that being, like I said earlier, like, people that's doing it and really making money, they working. They're not waiting for you to come and help you. If you want it, a lot of them will help you, but you're gonna have to go out and find them. Like, I'm not stopping to say, "Hey, who can I take with me?" I'm going. If you want to come, you need to get on the bus, bro. Yeah. And it's not that you can't find them. There's a lot of them around, but you're gonna have to start doing something. It's like Oren said, like, okay, when I started to sell cars, I said, this is what I want to do. I found Clyde, I found this guy, and they said, this is what we're going to do. And he did it, and it worked. But Oren wasn't going to find you at the house. He wasn't going to find you at Papado's at the happy hour, hanging out. There's certain places where you weren't, because you weren't doing no work there. Like,
so I would tell somebody, this is just me personally, if I wanted to find a millionaire mentor, right? If you think about every business and every industry, every single one of them, I would almost 100%. You can almost find a millionaire in any business or industry. There's millionaire candy sellers. There's millionaire computer guys. There's millionaire books, right? There's millionaires in any business. So what I would suggest is if someone says, well, where is my mentors at? Well, what field are you in? And then in that specific field, you need to find the top producing CEO, the top whatever person in that field, find their autobiography, find their YouTube page, follow them on social media, like reach out to them, email them, whatever you got to do to get it, where conferences they going to, where they going to be at. And eventually you may not hit them, but you may hit their assistant to their assistant who has access to them, right?
Right.
And I think eventually, you're going to find yourself and a bunch of other people trying to get to the same individuals. And then before you know it, that's how the information is spread. But once again, like you said, Rail, these people are just not going to come knock on your door talking about, hey, I'm here, right? So it does take some, what you just said, some action. And if you're not about that life, you say you want to be rich, you say you want to be a millionaire. Well, I mean, that comes with some action. What does your action look like? What does your activity look like?
Just like
go find your business industry and find the top people in it and Google them.
So I was like we were talking about earlier, like the PlayStation guy versus the guy doing 5 things. Clyde, pretty much everybody on here would rather talk to that guy doing 5 things. Like, you doing something. Like, I'm not talking about you doing nothing. So
yeah. And once again, like Warren said, that PlayStation guy may be the next big thing in the gaming industry. And if he about that life, then you never know. You never know.
It's a saying I said a while back. I can't remember where I got it from. But it said that, every book on success has been written. It's just not enough readers. every audio on Success has been recorded. It's just not enough listeners. So one thing you'll learn is you may not, like you said, Clyde, you may not have firsthand chance to talk to some of these millionaires and things, but you can go pick up a book and they can mentor you through the book, because if you read books, anyone that reads a lot of books know that once you start reading a lot of these books, they're starting to sound similar. They're starting to say some of the same things, is what? I mean, pick up a book, you know, like people say, I've never met Jim Rohn in my life. But if you ask me, Jim Rohn's one of my mentors. Why? Because I read his books, I listen to his YouTube stuff. You know, I can get mentored through people I've never even met or touched, based off of what they've written, or like you said, the biography of them or the YouTube channels. So,
what is the guy who started Walmart? What's his name?
That's Sam Walton.
Sam Walton, right? So Sam Walton got a book out, and you know, I had no real interest in really. This is the first autobiography I've ever really dibble dabble when I first started reading. And bro, I was blown away. This man is a straight up hustler. He will out hustle most people in any neighborhood that I done came from. Like, the man grinded his way to success. And to see his story and how he started in small towns, and then no one believed in him, and then he flipped this business, went to New York. Like, this man was this dude was a beast, bro.
Right.
And I was guy from another place, different generation, but just to hear his story, that man inspired me in that moment. And I think that's the power of reading autobiographies of people that we genuinely want to emulate. We don't want to be these celebrities. No one wants to be these celebrities. Everybody just wants to have and do the things that the celebrities do, right? So no one wants to be Jay-Z. I mean, cool. But everyone wants Jay-Z's success and his fame and all this other stuff, but nobody really wants to be him, right? So we don't have to be him. All you gotta do is read his book, and he'll tell you exactly. Look, he told everything. Sam Walton said exactly everything that he did, step by step. Now it's a little different, obviously, with this generation. Things change, but like Oren said, at the core of it, there's 5 or 6 different things that they all generally do the same. And until you actually start to pick up books and figure it out, you never get that information, you know?
All right. So the verdict is in, y'all. I don't want to take us too long. Yep. But hey, you need to move forward, bro. If you need some help on these things, you need to move forward. You need to reach, don't overreach, and you need to do this in a healthy way, man. And it starts with you. You need to start doing something. I don't care if I can only spend an hour a day or an hour a week now. You need to spend that hour doing something. And if you've been talking about it, you've talked enough. Let's start doing things. So.
Get your Google game up and start Googling some famous folks and get some books and start Googling some information. We're in the technology age. This is the golden era. How do we not know? It's impossible not to know. That's a damn space bar to say Google. Type it in there. I mean, you can have it in seconds. We should all be multi-millionaires just by Googling. I mean, eventually, and then take some action.
So as we sign off, we just want to thank you for taking some time to tune in and spend with us on the Bro Can I Help You podcast. Go ahead and tune in next week. It's going to be another great conversation. It may not be on the same basis of money and success like that, but it's going to be good. I'm going to tell you right now. So be there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh.
All right, fellas.
All right.
Peace.
Trying to get a lot of dough and dirt through all the obstacles, cause anything is possible. Yeah, look at my glass. Oh man, I got a lot of goals. Stack that bread and vomit nose. Anything is possible.